We live? All right, we're live. Oh, okay. I think we're live.
Yeah, it should be good.
Don't mind me. I'm snacking. They just came out of youth practice, but we'll get on. We have a great guest today, legendary Coach Bell, who is from New Jersey and took went down to Georgia. Is now a head coach at Dekalb High School and taking over that program after a tremendous successful career in New Jersey. His son also is one of the top defensive backs in the country at the high school level. Committed to LSU, is that right, Coach?
Yes, he is.
Currently committed to LSU. So we'll get to talk about that. So we'll get to talk about some really interesting things, not just his career as a coach, but also a little bit of the angle um, from a dad who has a top level recruit. I think that'll be real interesting. And so, without further ado, let's bring Coach Bell on here. Coach,
Hey, how you doing, Coach?
how's
Can y'all
everything
see me?
going?
It's going well. I can't complain.
Good. We got a
What's up,
little.
Coach? How are you?
What's up, Coach D?
We're excited to talk to you. You're living the good life down there in Georgia. You know, enjoying sun all year round. No more winters for you.
Yeah, no more shoveling for me.
You may have to deal with me because I just came. I just came out of. I'm coaching my son's 8U team, so
Mm.
I have a little food right next to me. My wife made me, so you might see someone snacking occasionally while we're doing a podcast. But we're excited to have you on. Like we said in the intro, two great perspectives. As a coach, obviously you've had a great career as a coach, and now taking over a new program, and then also as a father of a top level recruit, which is for you, it might be even more exciting, right? And then obviously the father of sons who are coaching at the highest level as well, which I think is, you have some really unique perspective. So we're really excited to talk to you more today.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Coming from New Jersey, okay, and
Mm.
going to Georgia. Um, but before we get to that, tell everybody who may not know as well as we do just a little bit of how you got into coaching, your career, all that kind of background, and then we'll go from there because there's a whole bunch of stuff that I want to talk to you about.
Okay, well, I started my coaching career right out of college. I went to Ramapo College. I played defensive back for them for 4 years. And right after college, I started coaching at Westside High School, my alma mater, where I played at. And I was a defensive coordinator for Westside when I first got out of college. And I moved from Westside, and I got a job in East Orange. I started coaching at East Orange. Clifford J. Scott under Coach Bill Norwood. I was a freshman head coach, and then I became his defensive coordinator. And then from Coach Norwood, I started coaching at Livingston High School. And then I left Livingston High School and came back to East Orange campus to coach under Coach Larry Schumacher. Rest in peace, Coach Schu. And Schumacher resigned, and I took over as a head coach at East Orange campus. And once I took over head coach at East Orange campus, I was fortunate enough to win a state championship in 2007. And we were very good, had a very successful career there. But like sometimes, towns want change, and they want to move in another direction. So I wound up being the offensive coordinator for Barringer High School and the offensive coordinator for Roselle High School under two of my former assistant coaches, Coach Ron Lee London and Coach James Williams. And then I was offered the job to go back to Westside as a head coach, and I decided to take it. And I went over there and turned the program around, and decided I just needed a life change, and I decided to move to Georgia. I wanted my youngest son to go to school down in Georgia because my family is here. My mom is here. She passed away a couple years ago, but that's where I am now. That's what brought me here. And I'm coaching now at Southwest DeKalb High School, a legendary high school here in Georgia. And it's been great.
What was the move that made you go down to Georgia? Was it family, or was it you just felt like you needed a change?
No, it was family. It was family, and I think it was I was kind of driven by God. God kind of moved me. New Jersey was good to me. I had a very good career there, coaching, living, teaching. But I just think God had a different plan for me, and He allowed me to move. My family moved here, so I decided to move, and it's been great ever since.
It's pretty. I love the fact that you made the move. By the way, I want to make the move to the South, but I can't get out of here because my kid's so young. I want to make the move
Well,
myself. What's amazing too. So I remember when you made the move, your son Jalen, right? That goes to Grayson,
yep,
right? And when he made the move, I remember you went to like one of the camps that we had down there. You were starting to kind of put your feelers out as to what the world was like down there from a football standpoint. He
yep.
went down there, started basically right away at Grayson. Now he's committed to LSU. Is one of the top recruits of the country in his position. What was it like as a father of someone becoming such a top level recruit like that? And I know you had other sons that obviously played at the college level and had great success, but this son is one of the top players considered one of the top players in the country in his age group. And so what has that kind of road been like for you as a parent?
It's been great. I did have the opportunity when Trey, my oldest son, was coming through. He was one of the top players as well. He was in that class with Vernon Hargraves
Yep.
and Jalen Ramsey, and he got a chance to play at the Nike Open and whip all of those guys. He was on the team with Ezekiel Elliott, so I kind of had a little experience with it. We just took it to another level with Jalen. Coming out here at Grayson, he came down in the eighth grade, and down here you can play spring ball in the eighth grade with the high school. So they moved him up in the eighth grade to the varsity team, and he had a really good spring in the eighth grade. And by the time the fall came, he was the starting corner for them, and he started all 14 games, all the way to the semifinals and the playoffs, playing against the number one player in the country, Travis Hunter. And it's just been great.
Hello.
And he just took everything that he learned from myself and my son, and doing it his way now.
Yeah, it's incredible, and LSU. So tell me about that like process there with LSU, and what what were some of the interesting factors for him in making a decision prospect wise? Because one of the things that we always talk about is everybody's recruiting process and how it's different. What were some of the important factors for him?
Well, growing up in a football household, we always studied defensive backs, and he played for the Brick City Lions out of North New Jersey. Shout out to Big Body Nas, um, and he prophesied this. He always wanted to go to LSU because it was considered DBU, and he's been playing DB since he was probably 5 or 6 years old. So it was always a dream of his. So when he had the opportunity to get an offer from LSU, and then it was a committable offer. He got the offer from Coach Olstaff before they got let go, and then when he got re-offered by Coach Kelly's staff, we thought that was a sign. And he just wanted a couple of his teammates from high school was committed there, and he was just like, you know what? Let me not waste no time. Let me just go ahead and commit because this is my dream school. And he actually said that for the Brick City Lions documentary that he was going to be at LSU starting as a cornerback in the next 5 years.
That's incredible. That's incredible that he already knew at that point that that's what he wanted to be and that's where he wanted to be. I mean, obviously the great cornerbacks that have come out of there, and great defensive backs in general. Patrick Peterson, obviously,
Yeah.
but that's just one of many, many, many guys that have come out of there that have been big time prospects and big time NFL players. Um, Taking over a new program. So you went down, right? You were originally an assistant, I think, right, as a coach when you
When I
went down there?
when I first came down, I just sat out. I coached rec ball for a year, just to stay in the game. And then I took an assistant job at South Cornell High School, thanks to Coach Brian Lamar. Gave me an opportunity to come on and coach and still go watch my son play. So I was a freshman offensive coordinator for South Cornell for a year, and we did really, really well. one of the best freshman teams they ever had in the school. And I just decided I wanted to get back into high school coaching on the varsity level. And Southwestern CAD job opened up. It was 80 jobs that opened up, and I only applied for one. And I talked to a couple of guys that I knew, and I asked them what kind of school was Southwestern CAD, and they said it was similar to what I used to coach at in New Jersey. So I applied for it, and I never heard anything. And then all of a sudden, about 2 months later, I got a call for the first interview, and then I went through the first interview, and I went through the second interview, and the third interview, and then the fourth interview, and then finally they offered me the job.
Wow, that's incredible. Where is the Dekalb relative to Atlanta? How far is it from Atlanta?
It's like 20 minutes. It's
Oh, okay,
in Decatur.
okay.
Yeah, it's very
Oh,
close.
Decatur. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Very, very, very familiar. Okay, we got Coach D back. That's great. That's really so. So as far as now taking over a program, what are some of the things that you're instilling that are similar from what you've done in the past, and what's different than what you've done in the past?
I'm taking over a program that was 2-8 last year, 4-6 the year before. But before that, they were pretty good. Had some very, very talented kids that played there. But coming in, it was a discipline issue. And I'm just instilling discipline. That's all I've ever done in New Jersey was instill discipline and pride into my kids and get them the confidence they need to be successful, to go to the next level, whether it's football or just being employed by a company. But they leave my program and they feel real good about who they are as a person. But the difference is here we have spring ball. So you get to work with your kids all year round. So I was able to come in and implement my offense, my defense, my special teams from day one, and I got the job March 1st. In New Jersey, you can't do that. You can't touch your kids until June, whatever the last track meet is over. So you get a chance, if you're a worker, you get a chance to really work and coach football here opposed to in New Jersey. And the kids here, like over the whole state, this is a huge state, they really like playing football. Like you don't have to beg them to play football. Like they want to play football.
That's a huge thing. I mean, we've talked about it a couple times. We talked about it with Tarig. We talked about it with Coach Jackson from West Virginia about how the South has really become, like, from a scholarship standpoint, starting obviously, I guess you would say like North Carolina, all the way obviously to down to Florida, all the way west out to Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously California you would include in there as well. Just the way the structure is, they've dominated the scholarship landscape. We were talking about it, I think yesterday, that there was only one New Jersey kid in the top 300 players, but Georgia, I mean, there's a ton of them, ton of players from all over the South, and obviously the fact that they're playing a lot more, just what you're saying, really, and the fact that they love football. Like football's like, my guess is that, and having run a lot of camps down there, football is important in New Jersey, and New Jersey has a good tradition, but football down in the South is like a religion, right? So it's a different thing.
Well, the thing is, Coach, down here, just like last night, we had our fall scrimmage, game scrimmage before we open up next week, and every school in Georgia has a top player on their team that's going to go Power 5. I'm talking about, I took over a program, and I have a Power 5 kid already committed to BYU. So every school here has a Power 5 kid, or 2 or 3 or 5. But the difference is they get a chance to get evaluated during that live period. When spring ball comes around, they get a full evaluation from the colleges to watch them play football. In New Jersey, they just come to your school and say hi to the kid or see the kid, but here they get a chance to watch the kid perform. And that's why they get offers and get scholarships and get seen more because of the way they do spring football.
That makes a ton of sense. I mean, it's just a matter of the more people could see, if everything's being equal, and I seen somebody and I haven't seen somebody else, you're gonna recruit that player. I think
Exactly.
it's a no brainer. I'm curious, and Derek, you could chime in anytime. I know you were gone for a little bit, so if you want to chime in with something, just chime in front of me.
Yeah, no problem. Like I mean, listen, that's something that we've talked about, even more so recently and they've tried here in Jersey to do a little something in terms of, okay, well, we'll give you a couple days where you can kind of guys can go on the field out there and they can work out and do this or that. Listen, that's still talking like you're in a live type of game scrimmage at the end of your spring ball. These guys can come see that. It's not the same as organized drills. Like, I want to go see a football play.
Yeah, see, at our spring game, Coach, we had about 20 schools there watching our kids play. And I'm talking about LSU, Georgia Tech, you name it. They were there watching us play. So to see those kids play that early, it gives them the opportunity to pull the trigger and say, hey, look, we want to offer you a scholarship.
That's an enormous thing. How about has NIL become a thing at all in Georgia? I know all the states are different. Like, I don't know if they're allowed to get NIL in high school yet there, but is that a huge thing with the prospects down in Georgia?
Well, see, the difference now in Georgia is you can't get an NIL in high school. That's the state law. I know, like in Louisiana, Brian Kelly went to the state and fought for the Louisiana kids to get NILs in high school. Here, you can't get them.
That's interesting. So everything they're bringing, obviously, that they're offering is going to take place when they get to college. So from an NIL standpoint, have you seen, and it sounds like it hasn't been a huge effect, but has the transfer portal been an issue on the number of kids that are getting offered down at the high school level, or no impact with what you're seeing?
Well, see, here, trainers, they have a lot to do with the kids here in Georgia. So if you train with a guy, that's like the liaison for the transfer portal. So guys want guys, they go to the trainers and say, okay, well, he trained the top DBs or he trained the top linebackers. So let's go to his trainer and we'll go through the trainer. We don't have to go through the high school. We won't break no rules. And the trainers are saying, hey, man, I got a guy that's in the portal. And that's how guys are able to leave one school and go to a bigger school.
That's interesting. That makes a ton of sense, actually. That's how you get around that whole kind of circumvent, because they're all trying to figure out now. Like, I hear some of the coaches that are in college, they're saying, hey, we need to get in some sort of regulations of how people are tampering. But I don't know how you're going to be able to, like, once the cat's out of the bag in this whole thing, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to put it right back in the box, right? Because
yeah.
I mean, it's obviously you want the athletes to be able to control their careers, to be able to obviously profit from it. You want them to do that. At the same time, you also want to be able to have a situation where it's not craziness too, right? For everybody.
Yeah.
That's the hard. I mean, that's the true balance of it all. What do you see like some of the possible, I don't know, best ways of all these things for high school coaches to handle stuff like when different people come in for kids, working with trainers? Like, how have you found the best way to do things?
I found the best way to do things like this, man. Like, I'm an honest guy. I try to do things the right way. And I just try to advise the kids the same way I would advise my own kids. Just try to do things the right way. Don't be in it for the money, the fame. Be in it for all the right reasons, because when football stops, you're going to have to fall back on a career. You don't want to go somewhere, okay, you got a few dollars, but then you wind up not graduating because you got in the portal, nobody picked you up, and then you got a few dollars, but that money's not going to last but so long. Do things the right way, coach, and just advise kids the way I would advise my own sons.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I mean, that's the best way to do it. And 7-7 is like enormous in the spring down in Georgia. Like Georgia and Florida, obviously, but I mean, it's grown up here. But I try to tell people, like, there's a club on every corner in Georgia and Texas and in Florida. Like, whereas like we have our club up here in New Jersey, it covers. We cover the whole shore, the whole entire, we have kids from Middlesex County. We have even kids from like Del Barton up in
Yeah.
New Jersey, in Georgia, or like you'll have the top tier programs that'll draw kids from different areas, but then you'll
Yeah.
have each area have like their own club that's playing, and they're playing in league play, and like because I know who's the guy who used to be a strength coach down there? He runs his own league. Like you have 7-on-7 leagues to all the way throughout the spring, right? It's amazing how many opportunities there are to get better. Do you advise kids like to play multiple sports? Do you want them to, if they want to do track, do track. If they want to play basketball, do basketball. Like, how does that work down there?
Well, for me, I played all 3 sports in high school, so I would never not advise that. And here, even at Southwest Academy, our kids play multiple sports. Like my DB that's committed to BYU, he was a state champion of 400. So he came to us in spring ball. He might have practiced like 3 or 4 days right off the track, and played in the game. So here they play a lot of sports, man. Like it's not just one sport that they concentrate on. They're athletes. They play multiple sports.
Yeah, I think it also probably makes you overall a better athlete too, right? Less likely to get injured, being able to play multiple sports, and plus I think you enjoy your season too, right? There's nothing wrong with playing 7-7 stuff, but if you play multiple sports, you look forward to the football season,
to your season. Yeah, to your season. Because right now he's having so much fun. Like he won a state championship in track, 400 team state champ, and now he's like enjoying football so much more. So a lot of times, like what you don't want to do is like overdo it. Like you don't want to play 3 sports. 2 sports, I think, is good enough.
Yeah. Well, it just becomes a time thing, right? And especially we're in Georgia, which is like Florida in a sense that like there's no winter. I mean, there's winter sports, but like if you do track, right, you start in January, right? In track, like you
listen, track 7-on-7, everything that's outdoors starts all over again in January.
Yeah, exactly. So it's impossible because you're going to go right from football, and then you're like, okay, if I'm a track guy, I'm doing track for the next 5 months, and I'm doing 7-7, right? And but if you're a basketball, if you're a football basketball guy, don't they do it all year round too? Do they do AAU down there? Is that
I thought I worked hard. Like I thought I was a tireless worker in New Jersey, but the school that I'm at now, these guys work 24 hours a day, all year round. Basketball, girls basketball, track, softball. Like this school is a school of champions. Like if you go in the Hall of Fame, all the champions they have multiple championships in different sports. Wrestling. My tailback is a state champion in wrestling, 39-0 at 218 pounds.
Wow.
So that's how like it's so different to coach kids that's coming to the table with a lot.
It must be refreshing too, in a sense that and New Jersey has great sports, great athletes. We obviously both grew up here. But to go to where like they just live for sports, you know what I mean?
They live for sports. Yes, they do.
Yes, in New Jersey, you're always almost like justifying how sports are important, right? Like you're always like, as a teacher to coach, like you're always justifying to administrations how important sports are, like how much we need it as coaches with the kids and stuff. But down there, they want sports.
They want sports. Let me give you an example. Like my son's school, right? In that county, which has, I don't know, maybe 30 high schools. The high school coaches don't teach classes. They just do football. If it's a class, it's weight room, which is all football players. In New Jersey, I used to work from bell to bell, from 8:15 to 2:15. And that was my time off. You don't get no time in between to touch your kid. You can't talk to them. Here it's different. Even like now here at the school I'm at now, like I do so much less in terms of working. I still get a chance to get with my kids and talk football and do football.
Well, the relationships must get stronger too because of that, right? They can sit down, they can tell you what's going on instead of putting out fires, right? In New Jersey, I feel like you'll spend your day, you hear about something from a teacher, you're putting out a fire, right? As opposed to being able to build relationships
Yeah,
with
build the
kids.
relationship all day long. Yeah, yeah,
You know,
and that's
and I
and
think
that's the difference.
that's interesting. That I think I didn't realize how in depth that was. You know, because I was never I was coached, but I wasn't a teacher. Obviously, Derek was a teacher. You
Mm,
were a teacher. The bell to bell thing, and then all of a sudden, boom, you got to go right into football practice,
yeah, yeah,
or whereas you're able to, kid needs to see you about something, can come over and
mm,
see you because you're focused more on the full thing with respect to sports. They can come and
yeah,
see you, talk to you, build relationship, tell you what's going on at home. Whereas New Jersey, you're finding out on the fly. You're walking to the field and someone's walking with you, telling you, "Hey, so and so's not going to be here today because this is going
yeah.
on."
He's suspended. Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
take my career for example. I coached in the inner city in New Jersey, so imagine what I had to deal with, and then still coach football.
Yep.
You know, here the weight room is a part of their curriculum, is a part of their class. So you don't have to worry about doing weight room after school. You take weight room in school. So if you're an athlete, you don't have to miss a sport because you got weight room. Your weight room class is during the day. And that's something that New Jersey, I know with East Orange and West Side, they didn't do that.
Right.
You know, everything was at the school. So if I ran track, I couldn't lift weights. Played basketball, I couldn't lift weights. Here, you can lift weights during the day and play your second sport in the afternoon, which I think that's something that New Jersey high school administrators need to think about if you really want to build a good program.
There's no doubt. If you want to build a group, you're right. You were saying if you want to build a group program, that's got to be the key because it becomes a limitation to what those kids can do,
Absolutely.
and their development obviously gets limited. Their development is
It holds those kids back.
Yeah, it's a totally different ball game, coach.
no doubt about it. Derek, I'll let you ask. Me and Coach have been going back and forth. You have so many technical difficulties. I don't know. I might have to put I might have to bring over a tower for you. Just leave it outdoors.
I mean, a tornado. There's like a tornado going on around here, so Wi-Fi's going crazy.
Oh, is it really?
Listen, look, it's a lot of the. Yeah, down here it's like it's wild, but it is what it is. So I apologize for that. But Coach, I know. Listen, I know it's. We've talked to some guys that have had the opportunities to go down south like you have, and listen, a lot of them hit on the exact same thing, and that's always a big one. Weight room is now a part of. Now it's not deterring a kid from playing another sport because he's going to miss this, right? And it only adds to that acceleration process in terms of maturity on and off the football field. In terms of, hey, I have to see my coach every day, right? There's no escaping that weight room, right? Even some of those guys that try, finagle and get by it, it's like, hey, you're still part.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's something that New Jersey should adopt because I mean, I know like coaching at East Orange and West Side, it was tough trying to get kids to come to the weight room and they want to play basketball, they run track, and then, it caused controversy between the coaches because, they think I'm being selfish because I'm the football coach and I know you need strength, and it caused controversy between us when it shouldn't be that way.
Well, that's a big thing that I've noticed in high school. Every place I've ever been, basketball coach is at odds with the football coach.
Yeah,
Baseball coach is at odds with the football coach. Just because there wasn't a solution for the weight room,
yeah, yeah,
and all of a sudden, guys who should get along, so you could have their kid in your sport. Now people are trying to hoard kids for their own sport as
yeah,
opposed to everybody
exactly.
going from season to season and being successful because of that used to drive me crazy. I'm like, we should be working together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
If our kids are going from season to season, we're going to win championships. If
exactly.
we're controlling our own 10 kids and that's it, we're not going to win. None of us.
Yeah, none of us. Yeah. But I tell you, man, I pray that someone from New Jersey hears this conversation, start spring ball, start weight room in the school, give the high school head football coaches don't give them a full load. They already have a full load. And football is not 2 months. Football is year round. The high
Correct.
school football coaches shouldn't be working as hard as they are and still trying to manage a football program and still be held accountable for winning. Some of us did it. It's a lot of us who did it, but it shouldn't be that way because that's not the way it is everywhere in the world.
No, you're 100% right, and hopefully at some point, the fact that New Jersey and there's other states, the Northeast, I would say in general, it's an issue, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
Pennsylvania maybe has a little bit more, but obviously New England is probably a problem. So the coaches really have an issue. And really the truth is, this is, I always say this, it does, like, yes, it affects us as coaches. We maybe cannot be as good as we could be, but the people that it ends up really affecting is the kids,
are the kids.
because
Yeah,
they don't develop the way that they should. They don't get the
not at all.
opportunities, and the opportunities become, limited because we always and we try to explain it to administrators in New Jersey, like they don't understand. So there's a lot of people that don't understand how big an opportunity sports is for so many people. And now, I mean, from the time when we were kids, it's like 10x from that time period. Like
Exactly.
my your son and his friends, sports has been big part of their lives all the way through, and their
Yeah,
parents' lives. My son, who's even younger, much younger, he's 8 years old. Like, we just go from sport to sport to sport, and
sports.
so do
Yeah,
the parents. Like, they're taking the kids to sport, and it's part of their social life now, right? Like, that's part
yeah.
of their social life. So this is where I think administrators now in the South, I think they get it, right? But
They get it.
up northeast, they don't realize that sports is the fabric of the kids' social life as well. It's not
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
sport. These are their friends. Like, when I see my son, he says, can I stay after practice and hang out? Because kids have older brothers that are on, still at practice in youth or whatever. I say, yeah, like, they're hanging out. That's how he makes his friends. He's hanging out with them, not just in practice, but now
In
he's hanging
practice.
out with
Yeah,
them 45 minutes after. That's their
yeah,
playtime. That's their,
yeah, yeah,
play date, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
yeah. And for me, coaching in the inner city, that was the bonding time that the kids don't have to be on the streets or doing
Yep,
something that they shouldn't be doing. That was time to keep them away from all those elements, and that's the
absolutely.
difference. Like here, man, we practice and we work so hard that they don't have time. Like I'm still like you see what I'm talking to you. I just
Right,
came from
right.
scouting. I'm outside because I didn't even go home yet. So that's the world that I live in now. You understand what I'm saying? But in New
Yes,
Jersey, the administrators never take that stuff into consideration. It's just like I pay you to teach and that's it. And I think that's not fair because we put so many hours in for such less money. You know,
well, well,
if
that's
you
right.
count the money, it's pennies,
Pennies, absolute pennies. It's
pennies.
absolute pennies, and the amount that you're giving to them, and you have hundreds and hundreds of players that come back and tell you how important it was for you to be able to help them, not just football wise, but literally changing kids' lives, like
Lives.
changing
Yeah,
the trajectory of their lives. And sports is the impetus for that, because it gives them that camaraderie. It gives them something that they can focus on. It gives them a goal point, like, hey, I can go to college. I can do this.
yeah.
And I always say, like, listen, it's great that kids go Division I and all that stuff. And I was lucky enough to play at a high level. But the most important thing is to take football and be able to leverage it to get you where you want to go.
Get
Tariq
you where you
talked
want to
about
go.
that. Tariq talked about
Listen,
that
coach. Let me
a
tell you
couple days
something.
ago.
I went to Ramapo College, right? I played at Ramapo College. I played a couple years at Norfolk State University. But my friends from Ramapo will be my friends until the end. And we built such great relationships that I don't think no D1, no D, no pros will ever be able to replace that, because we were a very tight knit group. We won a lot of games, and like those would be my brothers for life. Regardless of where we are in life, those will always be my brothers.
That's the most important thing. Those relationships, like, those are the people that you call up when there's something going on in your life that you could
Yeah,
talk to.
yeah,
And it's even more of an impact than You start building that stuff in high school. You have some friends that you have from high school, but college, if you get in the right
Those are
spot,
the guys.
exactly what you said, you really
Yeah.
not just battling with them because you're on the football field with them, but you're eating lunch with them. Like my favorite time in college was sitting around the lunch table. Like, I mean,
the student union was everything for us.
Yep.
That was everything for us. That's where everybody hung out at. That's where everybody just sat. We hung, played pool, just sat around, shot the breeze, and just developed really good friendships.
No doubt about it, Coach. I don't want to keep you any longer.
All right.
Anyone that wants to reach out to you, I don't know if you have Twitter or you have anything that people could reach out to you. Players that want to come over to Southwest Dekalb High School and play for you.
Hey, listen, anybody from New Jersey want to come down, we welcome you, man. Welcome to the West.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I appreciate it, Coach.
No problem. It's great talking. Great seeing you again. All right. Have a great night.
Coach D, I'll talk to him. All right.
All right. I will. Absolutely. That was great. So we got to have Coach on. Coach D has a ton of technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on there today, but it was great talking with Coach Marion Bell, legendary coach in New Jersey, now over in the state of Georgia. Really some amazing insight, not just into recruiting, but his own son being a great football player himself. He has a couple sons, a coach at the highest level. One at Florida. I was recently, I think, at Florida State, maybe somewhere else now. I think he's at Florida State. But just fantastic football family, and really interesting to hear the differences between the South and where we are in New Jersey, continuing to develop there. Until next time, thanks so much for being on the podcast. We'll see you all soon.